Good morning. It's actually not another Monday today. Um, right now it's Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020. I'm doing this one the afternoon. I'll post it tomorrow morning on Thursday. Um, but no, it's not Monday. But the world is turning upside down. I'm hearing a lot of people begin to express concerns, even locally, about going outside in their own neighborhoods, not going outside at night. People are getting skittish. Um, they're watchful. Uh, there's a sense of urgency because where we are, there isn't much going on, but it's just about an hour's drive south of us, and they could try coming up here. Um, they could try causing trouble here. It wouldn't be wise, but they could do it. Um, because of that, uh, well, it just reminds me a lot of one of the excuses that people use not to be ready for things that could happen, ready for emergencies, is that it'll never happen to me or it'll never happen here. And yet we see it happening all over the place, all over the country, and in other countries too. Um, Bad stuff is happening. In some few places, especially smaller places that are more, shall we say, independent, a little bit more conservative in their viewpoints, people have been able to protect their neighborhoods from some of these gangs and their local businesses and things. So far, they've been lucky. They've been able to do it. But what happens if they can't? What happens if some of these groups decide to take on some little wide spot in the road where nobody's ready for it because they figure it'll never happen to them? Or they decide to go into a quiet neighborhood some night and start just looting and burning houses and breaking in, and nobody's ready for it. The fact is, stuff can happen to anyone, anywhere. So if there was ever a time to get ready, if you're not already ready, is now. While you're still able to go to the grocery store safely and get get a little extra food in the house, while you're still able to leave your home safely, while you're still able to access information on the web and see the evening news, you need to be getting ready now and not wait until it's closer to. You can't wait until you see them coming down the streets 4 blocks away from your home. So I'm recommending to people, and this was something I was going to lead up to eventually anyway, but one of the first things that I've ever taught about people being ready was that you need to have your own 3-day survival kit packed and ready to go. I want to do a video actually that's a little bit more in depth on this and actually show you some of the things that I recommend putting into a kit. I don't think you need to come up with a large kit. There are some wonderful ones on the internet. They're pre-packed. They come in a nice backpack or carry bag, but they're a little expensive. And you'd have to wait for them to come to you in the mail or UPS or whatever. You'd have to spend all that money at once. And a serviceable kit can be put together just from the things in your house for, if you had to put a price on each thing, it'd be like about $20. The stores have those buckets too that, they're for 2 or 4 people, 2 days for 2 people, or one person for 4 days, and it has the food and water and I think a flashlight and a pair of gloves on some of them, a few things like that would go into a kit. And they're reasonable for what's in them. But if you don't have the money or the time to go to the store, or it doesn't feel safe, or your store has been destroyed, um, it's not that difficult to put one together. Now, I have heard a lot of people say to me that they wouldn't bother putting a kit together because if anyone ever came to their house, they would be met with resistance, with lead. Protect their kids, my family. Nobody's ever going to come into my house or hurt my family. Um, the talk gets rougher from there. Um, it's brave, not realistic. And I'm going to say right now that no amount of personal possessions in the world is worth the life of a single person. In the end, all of that is just stuff. It can be replaced. So, on to the kits. I thought it might help if I just gave a quick and dirty idea of what to do with kits. Most, with the exception of major disasters or a house burning down, things like that, most emergencies that you might face, whether they're civil or otherwise, are only going to last about 3 to 7 days. So if you have a kit that can get you past at least the first 3 days and to a point where you can connect with other people, where you have alternatives for getting more food, water, shelter, for the rest of the days, then you're usually okay. Some people go ahead and pack for an entire week. It depends upon what you have, what it's packed in, how much you have, and how able you are to carry that. I've heard of a lot of people, in fact, I'm one of them. I have a backpack that weighs 40 pounds. I can carry it. Not well, but I can carry it. And it's not so much the weight of it, it is the... Never mind. Anyway, you know... I lost my place. Okay. Bug out kits. Bug out bags. 72-hour kits. 3-day kits. Go bags. Flight bags. There's a lot of different names that people call these things. It doesn't really matter in the end. They're all the same. You can use almost anything to put a kit into. I've used a child's old school backpack. A friend of mine has one in a diaper bag because her kid grew up big enough to not need it anymore, so she's got things in the diaper bag. Cloth shopping bags, purses, men's shaving kits, toolboxes. There's a lot of things that you can put them in. It's whatever you have on hand. A pillowcase will do if you absolutely have to have something. Less durable would be a garbage bag or a grocery bag, but it would still be doable. Basic supplies that you should include are food that you will eat. Okay, now this could be survival bars, granola bars. I would not recommend anything with chocolate or sugar that could melt. I put a sort of a mixture of granola bars and canned goods actually in mine. Canned goods are good because they include a little bit more moisture. And I can get a pop top for mine. I do have a can opener in case I would be out and need more food and I found cans but they weren't pop tops. I would be able to open them. You need to include a gallon of water and a water filter because once that water's gone, when you refill, you can't be sure that where you get your water from is entirely clean. You should include, if possible, if space allows, an extra set of clothing or at least a pair of socks if you can't. Socks can be used for a lot of weird things. A bit of paper and a pencil. A Sharpie. A Sharpie is used for writing on your house so that family members that are not there know where you are. You can leave messages or phone numbers for contact. You can mark on the door of a house. In some emergencies, this would not be something I'd recommend during civil disturbances, but during other things, you could mark that, you know, the house does not have anybody in it, so that nobody needs to go in. Rescue people don't need to go in and look for you. You need to include a knife. Yes, it can be used for self-protection, but it's also used for opening packages or cutting string or tape or whatever you have that you might need a knife for. Some people will include gloves. You need matches with a strike strip. And the matches will not light without the strike strip. This is for lighting small fires if you need to, or cooking your food, because you can light a small fire and stick the can of food on top of the fire, and there you go, a hot meal. A Mylar blanket or sleeping bag or blanket, a small first aid kit, flashlight, rain poncho, or a large trash bag. If you need silverware and a can opener, you should include that. It depends on what you have for your food. A bit of duct tape. And then things that some people remember the list of phone numbers and contacts, but here's some other things to consider. Utility account numbers and insurance and bank account numbers, and their phone numbers. Photocopies of your ID, social security card, birth certificate, and marriage license. Photos of each family member in each family member's bag, so that if they're separated, they know who they go to, because there have been cases in the past of people coming up and saying, "Oh, you found my kids." And even though the kids say, "No, I don't belong to them," they're like, "Oh, well, it's just the stress of the situation. These are your parents. You will go with them." Some things have happened. So you make sure that the pictures are there so that authorities can actually match the children with the parents. Make sure they're a decent picture, one that you are easily recognized in. Medicines, keep them ready to grab and include in the bag of the person that needs them. Now, when it comes to the weight of the stuff in it, young children usually cannot carry all of their own supplies. What we've found is that they do much better if they have a small backpack. They have a bottle of water of their own that they can drink from at will, and it's refillable. A few snacks that they can eat at will. It helps with the stress of the situation. Carry a jacket or a small blanket in there, so if they get cold, they have that call, they can actually put that on. And maybe a favorite toy or a book, something like that. Older children can carry their own, but you should not include a knife or matches in any child's kit. Don't include a first aid kit either. Just put a couple of Band-Aids in, because these are things that the children will eventually play with. They will become toys. Teenagers can carry their own material. But before you ever have to use these, make sure that you introduce your other family members to them. Make sure they understand the ground rules and uses of each thing and when it should be used. Having these kits ready is a lot easier on the nerves than rushing around at the last minute. Now, I'm not saying anything's ever going to happen to any of you. I'm not trying to put fear in your hearts. I'm trying to let you get ready now while you're not afraid, so that if the time comes that you see them coming down the street, you can grab and go, and you know you're going to be fine. It's to prevent the fear that comes from that. Adrenaline is something that's going to happen anyway, but you don't need to be afraid. The other thing is that some of you I've seen on Facebook have friends in other places that are experiencing what's going on right now. It's in their neighborhood, or they've driven down the street and been caught up in it. I've seen a couple of people videoing the protesters going down the street and acting out. And they're just a degree or two of separation away from the people that I know. So for those of you that have friends in those situations, if you care about them, you need to shoot this video to them. Let them Give them the tools they need to get ready just in case, to be ready. That's all this is about. That's all I'm doing these videos for, is just to help other people be ready. So please share this with them. As always, be safe wherever you go. If you thought this video was a help, please like and share. Again, share. Subscribe, please. And be safe wherever you go. Stay aware, be ready, be blessed, and know peace. Thank you.